I'll let you guys ask the questions.
Quinn, just for them to get the stops as you've been preaching for the last 4 games and 4 quarters, just what kind of progress does that show that this team is making?
Yeah, I mean, I think that regardless of what's going on during the game, they started out so hot, and we kept our composure. And then, as you said, when it mattered, we got some big stops. And down the stretch, that's we were talking about that in the huddle. The guys were talking about it, and we had a couple times we gave up some offensive rebounds, but those were stops too, initially at least. So it's good to see.
Coach, last 2 games, 299 points collectively. Give me your thoughts on the offense and putting up those type of points.
Really, the thoughts I have are more about our defense. That's a lot of points, obviously. The other team scored a lot of points too. And as I said, I think to the extent you can score a lot of points and still try to really have a defensive mindset, that's hard. Because if you're scoring the ball, every possession doesn't seem quite as important because you're scoring. I'm not saying I don't want to score, but I think that's going to continue to be the emphasis for us.
Can you talk about your bigs? I know Quin and both had double doubles, and Yak had that big block at the end. Just what they contributed tonight.
You said it. Those 2 guys to get double doubles, and they're not in the game at the same time. So it shows one, how well they played individually, and also I think it's indicative of how well they play off each other and how much they support each other, encourage each other. They're truly happy for one another's success.
Coach, DeAndre Hunter flies behind the radar sometimes. Just curious, what did you see from him tonight?
Well, he was a man. I mean, what he does, you see what he does, defensively on the ball. But sometimes what you don't see is how he impacts the play off the ball. And really, for him to go to the basket as strong as he did tonight, and to be as aggressive, taking a shot, that's what he works on. And that's not to discount other parts of his game, but when you see him attacking the rim the way he did, that gives us a big boost. And it's really, I think, indicative of who he is as a player when he's that aggressive.
Coach, could you address Trae Young's overtime period? He really struggled shooting in the second, third, and fourth quarters, and then still had the confidence to kind of take over in overtime and take the big shots.
Yeah, I think that's obviously, something, one of Trae's strengths, that he does want, those opportunities in close games. I thought, the other part of it today too is, when he was at his best, he was doing that, and then he also was able to find other people. And that's key for us, So of course, the confidence with some of those threes, and we've seen him do that. I've seen him do it. He did it last year. He does it this year, and I think his willingness to do that, and then also his willingness, if they are double teaming or things like that, to get off and let other guys make plays is a big thing for us.
Quinn, that overtime period kind of became Trae versus Mikal, especially trading baskets back and forth. Is that just kind of the expectation in the NBA when you got two essentially each team's best player going at each other?
I wouldn't boil it down to that. I think those things happen at certain points, but the shot fake, and then Sadiq drops the ball to Hunt on a closeout, and Hunt scores. I mean, to be able to continue to defend as a group, I think for us is the most important thing.
Coach, you've mentioned a few times this season that you want the guys to get up as many three-point shots as possible throughout the game. We've seen Trae over the last few games that they are beginning to fall more for him. We've seen that from Bogey as well. Do you feel like as a unit, the guys are finally kind of getting to where you want them to be as far as attempts per game and then actually being efficient from behind the three-point line?
I mean, if we could shoot 50 a game, that'd be great. We didn't quite get there tonight, but I think the type of threes that we want is really important. You know, when we move the ball, when we pass the ball ahead, there's an expectation that starts to get created that guys are going to be aggressive with those shots, and it also allows us opportunities to rebound. Sometimes if you pass that shot up, you know, the possession becomes much harder. So it's worth 3, not 2. And the biggest thing I think is you have to be willing to miss. You know, you can't get hung up on if the ball's not going in on a given night. You know, that doesn't mean you don't go to the basket. You know, that's great too. But what I really mean is just having the confidence to take those shots. I think also opens other things up, not just for you, but for your teammates.
And 10 steals tonight. I'm just kind of curious about finding that balance between maybe going after the ball when you're in one-on-one situations versus maybe trying to drive a guy toward getting somebody to come over and help.
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes you go after the ball when you're beat, and that's usually not, you know, the best time. The best thing to do is to talk and receive help. I don't like us gambling, and we do that sometimes in transition situations. You know, can't say never do that. You know, guys have to be smart because, you know, we'll make some plays too. But really, having confidence in your help, I think is a big part of that. If you do get beat, where you don't just put somebody in line, you know, and foul unnecessarily. Sometimes those are 3-point plays. You know, they're not fouls that really achieve anything.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay.
Thank you.